Alright, get ready, guys. Nope, we're good. Alright, ladies and gents, welcome back to the Captain Crypto Show. Tonight, it's Tuesday, February 20th, 2018. And that means that I'm joined by two of my co-hosts. Tonight it's Jacob.
Hey guys.
And it's Jackson.
We're back.
Alright, so obviously there's been quite a lot of news lately, but I think I want to start off with something that's a little bit closer, I guess I could say near and dear to my heart, and that is specifically that the Edge app has launched on iOS and Android. So for those of you out there who want to see the sort of work that I've been doing along with the rest of the Edge team, it is available on iOS and Android. It is a stable release, so we're no longer in beta, and we are hoping that the community likes what we have to offer. It is a mobile wallet. Out of the box, it supports Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dash, Ethereum, and ERC, even custom ERC20 tokens. I think there are a lot of features that people are going to like. It uses a more familiar login system. It uses a username and password. And in general, we are looking to see what the community thinks of it. So far, the feedback has been pretty good, but we are looking for constructive criticism so that we can continue to improve the app. I'll be honest, do you mind if I put you guys on the spot? Have you guys checked out the app yet?
Yeah, so in beta I tried it out, in stable I've played around with a little bit of money, besides being stable, I don't know if I can notice anything different, but yeah, it looks awesome.
Jackson, have you taken a look at it yet?
Yeah, I have. It looks really good. I really want to, man, I can't remember her name, but I really want to give my regards to the design team.
Oh yeah, that's Raina.
Yeah, Raina has it really looking nice. I want to shout out that it is, I think, the one of two SegWit wallets that I know that are available on mobile, so congratulations on that, and everything looks good. Can't wait to start using it.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, and yeah, I think we do need to give a bit of a shout out to Raina Taylor, who is our graphic designer. Definitely the one thing that people notice, and one of the big things that sets us apart, is, especially initially when you take a look at it, is the user interface. It's pretty. For once, it's pretty. I know so many of us that work within cryptocurrency or have wallets or hardware wallets or mobile apps, they're usually not very pretty. They're usually very difficult to figure out how to use. So it's actually kind of funny. Before we had a graphic designer, some of us who were developers, including myself, we were having to make some of the design decisions. And boy, I wouldn't want to see any images of that early prototype out there. It was just really, really ugly. We were begging our boss to get us a graphic designer, and they hired Raina, and she's absolutely knocked it out of the park. So we're very happy with the release so far. There's a lot of how would I say it? We still have a long ways to go. We're just getting started. We're ironing out some of the small issues we're having. But in general, it seems like the feedback has been good.
How long has the app been in testing, and how long has it been in stable release?
Right, so it was in beta starting, I want to say back in late October, around the time of the Texas Bitcoin conference. So however long that would be, something like 3 months, a little over 3 months, something like that.
And how many versions do you think come?
Oh, like iterations of it? We were trying to have a new iteration roughly every week, but we probably every so often we'd miss it, so maybe more like every other week. But I guess how would I say it? The strategy that we use is very similar to like Agile, right, or Scrum, which is very common within IT these days. And essentially we try to come out with updates as often as we can, because we know if someone's having an issue with the app, especially if it's an app that's related to their money, they're going to want a solution ASAP. So we are trying our best to be as responsive, so to speak, if that makes sense. So for those of you listeners out there, or viewers now, I guess we're doing things live too as well. If you haven't checked out the Edge wallet on iOS or Android, go ahead and take a look and let us know what you think. I think it's Edge Secures, our handle on Twitter, or you can email us. We're very responsive, unlike some of the other teams in the space. So that's enough on that. One of the reasons that I went, excuse me, let me start that over. So recently we kind of have gone on a little bit of a splurge of going to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency related conferences, and part of that was because we were launching, right? So you want to get as much exposure as possible, and that means that me and a couple other team members went out to, this last week, and we went out to the Dallas Bitcoin Super Conference. And so I'll be talking about that in a moment. But also our CEO and another one of our team members went to Anarchapulco, which was a very large event. Sounded like it was a successful event. Ron Paul was even speaking there. I wish I could have been there to listen to him talk because I was a big Ron Paul fan, especially back in 2008 when I was a college student. But in general, for my experience of going to Dallas, I don't know much about Dallas. It was my first time ever going to Dallas, but a recurring theme over the last year is I've noticed as I started going to these cryptocurrency and blockchain technology conferences, because I first started going about a year ago when I joined Edge, as the price goes up and as the industry starts to get more prosperous, there's more people coming in, more money coming in. And this one, it was not as much of a party as, say, Bitcoin Miami was. But I mean, can you really expect it to be? It's Miami versus something like Dallas.
What was the price recovering at that time?
For Miami or Dallas?
I think Miami was crashing, right?
But yeah, Miami was crashing during Miami, but it didn't get people down too much. But at this conference, I think it was slowly marching up a bit. Yeah. So, and the big part of the crash had been over with. So a lot of the people you get at these sorts of conferences tend to be a bit more resilient. People who've been there for a while, they know that the price will likely recover. So I will say it was fun getting to meet all the people. Some of them are from Dallas, some of them were not. For me personally, I am a developer, so by trade I'm not. Hypothetically, I'm not supposed to be a people person, but here I am talking with you guys. I got like a podcast. But getting out in front of people is something that skill-wise, when we first started, when we first started going to conferences and letting people see the app, like when we were first in beta, obviously there are glitches, so it's kind of difficult to. It can. How would I say this? If you're trying to give a demo and it crashes, it's a little embarrassing, right? But as time has gone on, the app has gotten a lot better, and I noticed I'm getting more familiar with the app as well. So you might think as a developer that I know every single thing about the app that we're developing, but the truth is a lot of the time we get stuck in our little area that we're working on. Other people are working on other parts of the app, so we don't always know what's going on over there. So I'm finally getting to the point where I am feeling confident, and I would go as far as saying I actually enjoy being in front of people and talking about our Edge apps.
Did you run into many hiccups at the conference?
Not really. There weren't really any major hiccups. The only issue was that there was some issues with the Wi-Fi. So if we're trying to like send, receive, or yeah, or actually downloading the app itself. Yeah. Some people had to wait there for 5 minutes for the actual app to download. So I guess on the bright side, that's not an issue with our app. But yeah, in general, I think the app is doing pretty well. I think there are some small issues with the Galaxy Note 8, but we're working on a fix. It should be out within, I guess I can't give a timeline, but it should be out very soon.
Smooth sailing, as we say on the Captain.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious if either of you guys have gone to any of the conferences at all.
Oh, well, back when I was with Airbus interning, I was there at the launch of the app. It was, I think it was a little rougher. We were a smaller team, and
how long ago was that?
2014,
that's forever in crypto years.
Yeah. It was a little more painful, but it was the first app really like out. First time the wallet was out.
Were you there when you actually launched the Airbits app?
Oh yeah.
Oh, the original Airbits app.
Yeah.
So you've gone through some of the same stuff, just a different generation, I guess.
Yeah, I think but the Bitcoin environment was much different.
A little more depressed at that time. Wasn't the price was pretty down, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was a little nicer because it was a bit more. The people who were in it were more focused on innovation and the technical aspects of it. So I feel like you just got more of the people who do it true believers now. That was everyone. Well, most.
What about you, Jackson? Have you gone to any of the conferences?
I went to a conference here in San Diego about 2 years ago or something like that. So forever.
Is that the Libertopia one?
Oh, I don't think it was. I can't remember the name of it. But I like to watch the conferences whenever the talks get posted on YouTube. So I think I've probably seen as many conference talks as anybody in the world.
I didn't go to a crypto one, but one in Seattle related to cannabis, because cannabis was legalized in Washington and Colorado. I think one in
So was it a cannabis one or was it a cryptocurrency one or both?
It was cannabis focused, but it had I spoke on a Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specific panel, and just talking about the possibilities of using crypto in the cannabis industry.
Got it. Yeah, and it seems, I think one of the recurring things that I'm noticing is when I go to these conferences, there really are applications for cryptocurrency that you might not ever have even thought of. So as time goes on, blockchain technology is starting to work its way into industries that you wouldn't have even thought. So it's definitely an exciting time, and it's nice to know that that it's also improving lives outside of just cryptocurrency, outside of just money. All right, so I think that's enough on the conferences. As time goes on, our team will continue to go to more conferences, and I'm enjoying it more and more. So you'll probably hear more about me going to more conferences. And who knows, some of you viewers and listeners out there are familiar with me. If you ever see me, feel free to say hi.
Do you have any on the calendar right now that are coming up?
I think there's like a Denver Day of Crypto or something like that is in a little bit. There aren't that many that are coming up super soon. I know we're trying to go to Consensus, but that's a really large one, right? So, yeah, I will keep everyone updated as we, I guess, as we schedule more trips.
Maybe we can have like if any viewers are in the same area, maybe we can have like a meetup.
We could have a mini meetup outside. Maybe we could bring some recording equipment. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Together people in different parts of the place.
Got it. Okay, so I think we'll get to the news here. I think one of the big stories from this week, and one that I'm glad didn't affect me too much, was that it seems like Coinbase has had some issues with their payment processors.
Well, that's a bit of the story. It's Coinbase or Visa, right? They've been pointing fingers at each other, and I'm a little skeptical just because of the fact that Coinbase has had issues for a long time, just with banks. I don't know about Visa specifically, but they've had issues with just basically every user experience, right? But it seems like a bunch of competitors are starting to cut away a little bit from Coinbase, and there's new ones. I think like Robinhood, right?
Right.
Jumping on. That's a little bit different, but at the same time, all this stuff is happening, and then Visa comes out with it, and it's huge. It looked really, really bad. I mean, things have happened really bad on Coinbase before, but for this thing with Visa, I saw things like I don't know if they're true or not. Right? Can't really verify, but people claim that they got charged 5 times or 10 times.
Yeah,
they were.
It definitely seemed like they were multiples of maybe some former, purchases that they had made on Coinbase. So, and it was kind of a bad time. It seemed like it happened toward the later part of January, maybe probably toward the beginning of February, which for a lot of us Americans, Coinbase targets America. We have to pay rent around the 1st, right? So some of these people, I saw some of the messages, and maybe some of them were fake, but I think most of them are true. It seems like it affected a lot of people. Some people were not able to pay rent. They had to try to explain a convoluted situation.
Do you guys really think it was just coincidence?
Well, no. I mean, I don't know if you saw, but Visa actually put out a letter saying, for sure, this was not Coinbase's fault. This was our fault.
I think
so there was some pointing for a little bit, but it is very well known what happened, and it was a Visa error. But that being said, most people aren't actually going to look into it that hard. And if they hear there's an issue, of course they're going to think it's with the new Bitcoin cryptocurrency company.
It's been
not
a PR
Visa,
nightmare.
They've been able to rely on their entire lives.
Yeah, and my immediate thought too is, okay, so Visa has copped to it that it was their problem. Okay, well, are they going to be like, okay, obviously you're going to reverse the transactions, but what about all the overdraft fees? Like, how do you even prove that? I mean, it's a complete mess.
Yeah, it seems like a real nightmare. But the thing is, Visa isn't a small company. I don't know how they would. I mean, I'm sure they've had problems similar to this in the past, but I don't know. It seems like a huge thing. It seems just the timing seems pretty good.
The timing seems pretty good. What do you mean by that?
Coincidence. I mean,
yeah, I'm hearing some sort of conspiracy. Come on,
there's no evidence. It could just be happenstance, right? But it just feels too good.
Oh, so you're saying that because Coinbase is cryptocurrency related, that you think that payment processors, since in a way Bitcoin competes with them, that maybe they flubbed up a little bit?
I do not see that one bit. I'm gonna fall on my face.
I like a
knowing
good
that they'll
conspiracy.
blame- You're gonna like my segment that I came up with.
I like a good conspiracy.
I mean, I don't know, right? But so Coinbase is pretty dominant. We just checked right now. I think they're behind Bitfinex in terms of dollar Bitcoin trading volume, and the other competitors, which are also institutional, Gemini and now like Robinhood as well, they're coming online. And I think Coinbase is institutional, but it seems like I mean, if it was going to be a conspiracy, right, you'd think that someone else wants a cut of the pie, and also they've had really bad PR nightmares for a long time now. And I don't know how much more Coinbase can really take before really starting to lose some market share.
So, do you guys want to take this a little bit wider? Like, this whole issue that just happened with Visa making a mistake and accidentally sending money into the wrong place, within their system, they're free to roll that back. In the system that a lot of us in the Bitcoin/crypto space want to move to, we're going to have more people with access to move money that has no chance of being rolled back.
But there's the flip side of
So,
that, too.
do you guys think that there will be a lot more issues, and do you think that it's going to be a huge mess, or do you think people are going to rise to the occasion? Is grandma going to be able to manage her keys better than Visa is managing their system?
But the thing is, there's the flip side of that. So, right, this is a centralized cost problem. It's just Visa screwing something up for everyone, and everyone has to pay all these overdraft fees and figure out how to pay for rent and survive, right?
Yeah, it's a different problem.
Yeah,
but
but
are you saying that
so
there
Bitcoin
won't be issues with
sure, but
keys being lost?
Oh,
At least
sure.
they have the option to roll it back in their system.
Well, like there are centralized. So Bitcoin. So the nice thing about Bitcoin is you have the option. You have the option between the centralized solutions and the decentralized solutions, and you can sort of put in those bottlenecks again if you want to. And you can choose. You can opt for it. With centralized solutions, you have no option. So I really don't think that there's any disadvantage because you can get the both of both worlds. You can get the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Cool.
All right. Well, so go ahead.
I could segue off into the segment that I wanted to
Yeah,
do
go
real
for
quick.
it.
It kind of had something to do with Coinbase, too. So we just got news today that both Bitfinex and Coinbase are implementing SegWit, something that's been kind of a long time coming, but not really a surprise to anybody. But on top of that, the mempool, the amount of transactions that are waiting to be included in the Bitcoin block, just the general indicator of how busy the Bitcoin blockchain is at like almost zero. It's at an all-time low.
Yeah.
Bitcoin fees are already extremely cheap. And this was supposed to be the killing blow of being able to scale the Bitcoin network, getting these huge institutions to use SegWit, which will bring down transaction costs. So with us already at a low amount of transaction volume, with this huge swinging blow coming in to reduce the amount of transaction volume on the Bitcoin network, do you think that the high transaction volumes from a couple of months ago was a coincidence or a conspiracy?
Yeah, there is a part of me that thinks that there could have been some spamming happening on the main Bitcoin.
We know there definitely was. There's some announcements and some proof like this transaction is to spam the network on Twitter.
So we're both going with conspiracy on that one.
To a certain extent, I don't know how much of it was market manipulation. The price did definitely, price and actual exchange volume, and that's like a little harder to take. But I think there definitely is some market manipulation. But I think a lot of it was just part of the hype. So.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think that the powers that be in the mining sector would be crazy not to try to influence fees higher. Why wouldn't they? And in the Bitcoin system, everybody even in and out of zero conditions, so that's just fine. But I wanted to keep going. I have another coincidence or conspiracy.
Oh, God.
So we also got news from the Korean trading exchange regulations, where they came out and disavowed that they would be doing any sort of regulation to try to completely block cryptocurrency trading. They are going to look into it. They're going to make sure that you can't do it anonymously, but they're not going to out and out block it like they were claiming they were going to a couple weeks ago. On top of that, one of the main regulators over this whole project was found dead in his home
Oh
a
god,
couple days
yeah.
ago. Coincidence or conspiracy?
That one sounded really questionable, and I think like immediately, I could be completely wrong, but it seemed like immediately after he died, like the day after, there was some sort of announcement about what they're doing with
What
regulations.
were
So
the details of his death?
They think that it was a heart attack, but it's preliminary for now.
Oh gosh.
yeah, well, those Koreans, it sounds like they are very enthusiastic about their cryptocurrencies. So there's definitely no shortage of conspiracies there. Yeah, I think with regards to Coinbase adding SegWit, I think that it is good that they finally added it. And for the record, our Edge app does support SegWit addresses, and it does make a very big difference in the mining fees. When we were actually demonstrating at the conference, we would like to. We actually made it. Said, hey, if you download it, maybe we'll give you a little crypto, right? We'll send you a little bit of money.
Remind me, SegWit addresses and wallets are completely interoperable with old
I
traditional
don't
legacy
think
ones,
they're
right?
completely.
No, I think I remember some parts are, maybe some parts aren't, but I never use it, so it's not implemented anywhere.
I believe for the most part in everyday situations they are interoperable, but there are some edge cases where there would be issues, but I don't think daily users can do it. Paul Player was actually trying to explain this to me, and there definitely are some issues with it that he was explaining to me, but I have sent Bitcoin back and forth from legacy systems to SegWit all day long, and I've never had any issues.
Okay, so yeah, because I guess it makes sense if you were sending someone a SegWit address, then whatever wallet created that address would obviously support SegWit. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let you generate a SegWit address.
Right.
So I guess that does make sense. Yeah, we were seeing what fees upward of $15, $20, even more than that, just a few months ago. And it does make you wonder because, now fees are like under $1, at least from what I'm seeing.
I spent 11 cents on one. I was like, I thought I was sending Litecoin or something. I was like, am I in the right one?
If anybody hasn't yet, consolidate your UTXOs, people. It's time.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, really, some wallets literally just came online. I had tons, little change in many little wallets, and I couldn't spend. Now they're spendable.
I know for a fact there was a bunch of Airbitz test wallets that had a whole bunch of dust in them. Have you guys ever tried to consolidate those?
Oh my god, yeah. We're constantly doing that. It's I'm not the person who does it, so I can't really. Maybe you shouldn't quote me on it, but yeah, it can be a bit of a headache, and we can end up paying some large fees. But obviously, as we get SegWit going, ideally it should reduce the fees quite a bit. It'll be interesting, I think, as adoption. Okay, not just as adoption of SegWit goes up, but also specifically with Coinbase to see, because it's my understanding they are on the verge of implementing. It's like a day or two from now or something like that. So it will be interesting to see how much of an effect that has. And on one end, it's almost like if it does have a large effect, then maybe they weren't being completely responsible with the way that they were setting their setting their mining fees. But I guess they do batch transactions as well.
Not until recently, if they have started. They said they're going to, but they didn't up until they're
with batching or okay.
And then it's also a out and out fact that they are irresponsible, quote in quotes, with fees. But I mean that's just because the fact that they have to pay a little bit extra on your transfer fee on the Bitcoin network is worth it for them to avoid any sort of customer service issues.
Right.
The fee is too low against the Bitcoin transactions. So.
Yeah, and that's the kind of the recurring theme has been that everyone that has a wallet anyone that has a wallet that interacts with Bitcoin, it's a user experience issue if someone has to wait several hours for it to confirm. So they're like, okay, well, we'll just, we'll take whatever the average is and, maybe just add like a few percent, but that raises the average, right? Mm-hmm. So it becomes this echo chamber, and the next thing you end up with $20, $30 mining fees. But so it's nice to see mining fees going down now, and it'll be interesting if Bitcoin does have another surge in price and it starts to get that high volume again. It'll be obviously very interesting to see how the transaction fees go up or don't go up, right?
I mean, the TPS or the actual capacity of the network is still very low, so it won't take much to shoot it back up to $1 per transaction.
Yeah.
Even with Segwit.
Yeah, I guess it's something that we'll have to keep a close eye on. So another news item that came across my my laptop, I guess you could say, during these last few weeks is that there is a Monero fork.
Oh.
I mean, I'm always keeping relatively close track of what's going on in Monero. This one is called Monero V. Okay, I don't know exactly why it's called Monero V, and it seems to be pretty. How would I say it? I'm not gonna say suspicious, but mysterious, shall we say? And it seems like the main. So with Monero, there's, how would I say it? There is a, not constant, but there are continuous emissions when it comes to like the inflation rate. So emissions, like they're being emitted, they're being inflation rate.
I know
more coins are being.
Oh, you're being issued. Okay.
Right.
I'm like,
I guess you could call it. You could call it issuance.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, to whoever wins the block reward.
Right.
But Monero, their kind of the strategy that they have is different from Bitcoin, because Bitcoin hits 21 million at some point. After that, no more. The miners have to make their money off of mining fees. With Monero, I believe it eventually reaches a what I would call a low constant supply. But since the circulating supply continues to go up, it means that constant new supply as a percentage goes, it tends towards zero. And the main, how would I say it, the main selling point of this Monero V is that they're, in 2067, you know, I think the number is like 160 million or maybe it's billion of these Monero V coins, then it's going to stop and it'll just be mining fees that the miners will make money off of.
So it's turning into Bitcoin. What's I mean, using the same thing that Bitcoin's going to be doing, basically. But what's the real advantage of that?
I think that's what the big question is. And in fact, not just do I not think it's an advantage, I think it's a disadvantage, because no one knows what's going to happen when Bitcoin hits that 21 million. Granted, it's decades away. But at that point, if the miners only make money off of mining fees, then one of the concerns is, okay, what happens then? Does that mean that mining fees will be really high, or does that mean that no one's going to want to mine that currency? So by keeping a constantly decreasing issuance rate, you kind of avoid that problem. So these guys, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, they're actually taking a step backward, and they are. I'm not going to say creating a problem, but I think they're making things a little bit more risky.
Is it the same name or the same core developers really that were behind this?
So that's problem number two. Yeah. No one knows who it is behind it. These guys, and they
have a lot of support.
No, in fact, I would say it has very little support, and the people.
It's more like Bitcoin
Cash. I'm not touching that one. They don't have much support at all. And the Monero. Here's the thing: most of the people I know in Monero, when they see new coins coming out, okay, they'll kind of roll their eyes. But if it's something that really does provide more privacy, then they will be open to it. After all, most of them started off with Bitcoin. A lot of, like me, when I saw Monero come around, I was like, okay, like what is this? You know, BS wannabe Bitcoin. And then slowly, you know, you realize, okay, no, it actually has some stuff to offer.
So Monero really has sort of an identical governance model to Bitcoin, right? Just a decentralized free-for-all.
Yeah, it's a free-for-all. Yeah, to a certain extent, yeah. And actually, and I can see at some points how that can cause issues, right? Because if you're not really organizing things, then how do things get done?
There's other aspects. You know, there's the things of security, the hashing algorithm you use, this or that, and how you can scale and things like that. Besides privacy, so even if you have a community all for more privacy than basically at any turn, you still have disagreement on everything else.
Right. Yeah, I like the way the Monero's going, and even though it doesn't have like that centralized, for example, it doesn't have a mining not mining, but like a slush fund, you know, like kind of like Dash, or I think there's some others that do that. But what they do, well, that's what I call it. I mean, it's some of the mining fee goes towards wherever the hell it goes.
Yeah.
Dash has had some issues. We've talked about them here in the past, where the funds go somewhere and they're like, wait, we didn't know they were going there.
There are some other alternatives. You know,
I think Decred does it as well.
Yeah, I think it's EOS or
before we get too far away from that, kind of wanted to weigh in on the change in the issuance on Monero.
Right.
So I feel like The way it's actually happening is if you have an inflationary supply like Monero currently does, then that is going to be a tax on holders to pay the mining reward.
Right.
Versus if you have Bitcoin or Monero V, where there isn't a constant issuance, then that will be more of a tax on people that are actually transacting to pay the money. And I don't think either one of them is a problem.
Right.
I think that the problem that I have with our current fiat system is people in control of that and moving it up and down to justify what they think is best for the economy, which I just don't think anybody can. I think we should leave that to the market. So as long as you have a hard promise for what it's actually going to be,
Right.
I don't think that really matters that much. So I don't support this Monero V thing. So I don't think it's changing anything important.
I mean, you
Right.
can have both.
Yeah. Like Jackson has said, the truth is if you don't want to get involved with a coin that has that, then don't get involved with it, right? Like you said, as long as people are sticking to the promises that they've made, then it's not too much of an issue. So as if I didn't already have some reservations about Monero V, apparently they also have something like a 10% pre-mine. They're just going to hand themselves some money.
Out the window now.
Yeah. No, I mean, okay, so the fact that they're forking by itself does not create that big of an issue, at least you don't think. But apparently, it turns out that the way that Monero works, it has these ring signatures, which, I'll be honest, even I can't fully wrap my head around all of it because it's some cryptographic functionality, if that makes sense. But essentially, your transactions kind of get, I'm going to use this term loosely, mixed in with other transactions. And it turns out that if you have a fork like Monero V is doing, then unfortunately, if you go to the Monero V chain and you want to use your Monero V tokens, which a lot of people will probably want to sell them somewhere, it turns out that by doing that, you can actually start to at least partially compromise your privacy on the main Monero chain.
Why is that?
You're talking about
yeah.
very technical stuff. Essentially, I'm oversimplifying, but I think it helps reveal some of the other transactions that you are involved in.
Doesn't that only work if everyone else also goes along with it?
It's something where the more people who do it, the more the security gets compromised.
That's true with any privacy system, right? But that seems kind of dumb because anyone can fork. Crypto, I can fork
Right.
Monero and tomorrow and
Right.
I think it just depends on if you use it. So if you use it and not everyone else uses it, then that's interesting in a way.
Yeah, and it is. Then this is essentially this. I'll be honest. This is maybe a little bit of a knock on Monero. Like if you can just.
That's true of every coin. Really. I think that's true of Bitcoin with Bitcoin Cash. I mean, any coin that has less users is less private, and if you start using that and you start transacting on that, you just reveal more information about yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
And a lot of times you're also linking your individual UTXOs to each other. So like if I'm going to try to sell a Bitcoin fork, which I've actually done quite a bit of recently, and I know that some of my Bitcoin is attached to my name, but some of it is not, and I don't want to do that. If I combine those two pieces and send them to an exchange together, and then send the Bitcoin that I have bought off of that exchange back to its own address and combine those two, then anybody can look at that and then extrapolate that to the Bitcoin network. Oh, these ones moved together. They are probably owned by the same person.
Chain analysis among all forks.
Right.
That's going to get.
Yeah. So there are. So there are some. Let's see here. So this fork is, as I understand, it's not happening for at least a few weeks. So the good thing is that the people, developers in Monero, the community, have been discussing ways to handle the fork to make sure that people's privacy does not get compromised. And their number one, the first thing is they're saying just don't use Monero V. That's the first thing. If you don't use it, then there's not really much of an issue there. But also, since the ring signatures have a certain amount, I think the default is 5. So hypothetically, they could also increase the number of ring signatures in the transactions. But that, as I understand, that will tend to increase the data size of the transactions, which will cause fees to go up. And that's already a major issue with Monero, probably the biggest issue that they're facing right now. And it was interesting because I think there's a lot of, to call it shilling is an understatement. Some people are thinking that this is an actual, I'm not going to call it legitimate, but a serious attack against Monero. Because if the people at Monero V are pointing this out and they say, oh yeah, this could cause issues with Monero's privacy. Then why would they go ahead with the fork? And also, I noticed there were some people who looked like they were supporters of Monero V who were encouraging people to actually, start spending stuff with your Monero V immediately as soon as you get it. And I guess based on the analysis that people in Monero community have done, it seems like the closer to the actual chain split that you use your Monero V, the more likely you are to compromise privacy back on the Monero chain. So it was very suspicious to see someone.
It affects privacy on the main chain.
On the Monero chain.
Yeah.
For everyone? Or
Yeah.
just
I mean, it is, yes.
Any data point that you link to the Monero chain as this is connected to this part of the Monero chain and it's this way, that's another way for them.
But I guess Monero isn't that. I mean, I would hope that there aren't any data points in the Monero chain. Really.
Oh, there are. If you don't have enough people using Monero, then if you only have two people using Monero, you know who the two people using Monero are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
so I guess this in a way this removes users, right? It removes. It's the same as if you just remove the user from the because you just de-anonymize.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great.
So it is an issue. I'm trying to think here.
So, I wanted to move up to one question that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Security issues aside, and they are very real, and you can definitely think about that, whether or not you're going to de-anonymize whatever coins you're moving the fork on. If you do not believe in a fork of the chain, what is the best thing to do? Should you ignore it, or should you sell it as quick as you can?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I really have it.
Well, you can't sell it, right?
I said
he's talking about in general.
Concerns for a moment.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think government selling is probably a strong sign. Although you can,
but I mean, selling it in effect means that you're at least acknowledging it as a thing.
I don't think there's really much of a problem with existence. I mean, you might help it a bit, but I feel like if everyone did that, you'd be able to take point.
So you think you should sell? What do you think, Kyler?
I mean, off the top of my head, usually when something forks, it's not. I think it's not usually not supported on the exchanges, right? I mean, except in rare occurrences. So, I mean, I would say if you don't support it, I mean, it depends. Like, do you support it because you just don't care for it, or is it something malicious? Either way, I would say selling it does create obviously some downward pressure, and that could cause issues for the people who already have a bunch of it, which if there's like a pre-mine or something would probably be the developers of the new chain. So I would think, yeah, maybe if you want to discourage forks, that is a way to do it. But ultimately, I guess I don't feel strongly enough about it one way or another. So I would say maybe if you sell it, go spend that money on supporting the original chain and the coins you do like. So you can turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at this. Even if you can't have the coin, if you go out and short a coin, go out and short Bitcoin, you're really moving against it. You're pushing it down. I don't see any way that could really help it.
I feel like this might actually be kind of the same story that banks had with Bitcoin for a while. Well, do we just ignore it, or do we actively say and try to short it? Like, do we just, I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely a good question.
So while we're still on forks, I've actually been deep diving myself into this lately, and went through and decided that I would just try to sell all of the Bitcoin forks that I could find. So if you are a Bitcoin holder for the last year and a half or so, you of course have Bitcoin Cash,
right?
Which is somewhere 1,400, something like that. But I was able to find about another 15% of your Bitcoin through about 5 different forks.
Like gold, diamond, private.
Yeah, Bitcoin, gold, diamond, core. And I'm not even going to call these out because I really don't care about a single one of them.
Yeah.
But I do want to call one thing out that I thought was really cool. There's this user named YMGBE.
Okay.
And he has a tool on
GitHub
called the Bitcoin Fork Claimer. And it is not exactly for the faint of heart, but I have done it with and without this tool, and it is so easy to do in comparison with this tool.
Does it have good support for how many wallets?
I think it has about 12 coins, and I think there's about 5 of them that account for that, about 15%.
But what wallets? I mean, so hardware wallets.
It doesn't support any wallets, so you have to get down to your own private key, and so you have to do that yourself. And it wasn't too hard to do. I've done it now on a Ledger and a Trezor.
That's actually nice because you don't have to you don't have to specifically figure out how to talk to those networks manually.
Yeah,
that's the nice thing.
Yep. So as I'm saying, I just want to shout out to this developer. Your tool is awesome. Really appreciate it. And if anybody has some
What's
time, it's a YMGVE is the developer's name, and it's called the Bitcoin Fork Claimer. If you Google that, you'll find it pretty quickly.
I'm sure you could probably just fork that and make a general what's it called, fork claims for all types of coins. I think.
Oh yeah, that's what he's doing. He's adding more coins.
And it would be nice.
And he also has an active community around it too.
It would be.
Developers working on it.
It would be nice maybe if you could have like a setting to just auto convert back into a coin.
Yeah.
I mean, how does Edge even handle that right
now? So the good thing is
with Bitcoin Cash, I saw there was a specific feature for that. Bitcoin Cash, but the rest are just non-existent.
Yeah, I mean, haven't you done work on some of these like splitting tools? Like,
yeah,
no. So the main thing right now is I think there is something for the Bitcoin Cash split that's actually in the wallet.
Yeah.
But kind of as a catch-all, we made it pretty easy for people to just press a few buttons to get their private keys. That way they can use whatever the tools are for the specific
But it's still a manual process. I'm saying it would be. I haven't seen any wallet that has like an auto. I mean, some exchanges automatically.
The thing is, if you're going to do something where it's automated, it's going to have to be custodial.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe you could do it.
You could do like a shapeshift, back behind the scenes, automatic. Okay, it's forked now. Let's shape it. I mean, the thing is, there might be some like slippage and things like that. Yeah. So
anyway, in general, there's a lot of stupid forks. You can sell some with money. And there's security issues and also some issues of whether or not you're supporting the coins, and it's kind of an open discussion.
So does that means he has to be able to work with the core wallets of each of the forks that are being used, right? I mean, because how else are you going to store them? So that is
he has to run a node.
You're right. It's not for the faint of heart, but that it sounds like a really good tool though. So I mean,
his node is just broadcasting.
Right.
I can't compliment this guy enough. He has it set up so you can do it all offline. He's very careful to make sure you not send anybody your private key. It doesn't seem like he's trying to scam anybody. He just seems to stand up.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Because otherwise it's difficult to even keep track of all the forks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think one of the last topics I was going to touch on, and this isn't quite a new story, so to speak, but this is more about, I guess, social media, and it's sort of a phenomenon that I'm seeing becoming more and more common now, and that's just that I've noticed whenever you go to a big or a well-known person's social media, we're starting to see imitators, right? We're starting to see phishing scams. So Vitalik Buterin has a lot of that. John McAfee's been targeted a lot by that. And I think Charlie Lee's another one.
Yeah.
Kind of anyone who has like a big name. I'm curious. I mean, you guys have been seeing this as well, right?
I literally saw this 2 minutes ago on the Bitfinex tweet about supporting SegWit. They have a scammer right below them, and they have a Twitter handle that looks like the Bitfinex handle,
right?
And they're saying, we are giving away 100 Ether to the next 3 people that send this address 1 Ether. We'll send 100 Ether back to your address.
Right.
And it's just a big scam. And you're right, they are so prevalent right now, and I don't know what we can do about it besides petition Twitter, Facebook, to really try to smash these things because their users are getting scammed on their site.
Yeah, no, I think you're actually onto something, Jacob. I think having some sort of unique identifier either on the blockchain,
basically like a signature,
right? But they'd also have to make it. I think people that are out there that are starting businesses or getting domain names or Twitter handles, they need to start considering choosing something unique, but then also finding the other usernames that are similar. You almost need a tool that says, okay, this is. I want to put in Captain Crypto and then have it go through and try to find the different variations that could look really similar. Obviously, if it's a very popular handle already, then that'd be really cost prohibitive, possibly.
I think I want to push back on that. You said that you wanted like some sort of blockchain identifier to do that, but I feel like what you described is something that you would want like Twitter, Facebook, these social networks to do.
automatically.
to give you all of those potential like pseudonyms or close to your name as possible.
Right. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter too much to me where the solution comes from. Okay. I guess when I'm thinking of like identity, there is a part of me that how would I say it? I take a look at reputation systems a lot, and I think anything that is easy for someone to just change their identity, like they build up an identity, they can just change the username. That kind of sketches me out. So as long as there's some sort of cost to someone trying to do that. Because if you're on Twitter, I think hypothetically you can just change a username, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
your handle.
yeah, I think this is something. I mean, maybe it's kind of off topic because I've done reputation systems kind of interest me, but I'm keeping an eye out for some sort of blockchain solution.
I don't think it's off topic at all. I think it's really important. I think that a lot of people are erroneously thinking that blockchains can help this situation. I don't think they do, but I do think it's very important. And I'd love to be proved wrong and find somebody who makes a blockchain-based system that helps with identity.
Yeah, I think the big parts are just going to be education for the user.
Yeah.
Like I think younger people are a little better. Ones who are more tech. They're not too like I think even IT managers they do get apps occasionally and do some stuff like that too. So I don't know, but I think just being a little bit aware all along.
I was going to say it's not a new problem. Like when email came out, scams abound on that too. They still do. So
yeah, you're right. In that case, it's just kind of like the users have to get smarter.
But I haven't fully fleshed this idea yet. But if you want this whole Bitcoin revolution to help in the identity space, what about if you have to do some sort of proof of work or spend a little bit of money to create a new username on a system?
See, that's what I'm thinking. Is you need you need to make it costly to just start a new one and get rid of the old one. So I think that's like almost the most critical part of it, at least from what I can tell.
But I mean, it just takes one username. You don't have to buy 10 million.
Actually, they already do that. Proof of work for humans is called a CAPTCHA, and they do that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on, and it's actually funny because this kind of segues as we close down this topic. I'll be talking about how would I say this? Me and a coworker of mine are going to be doing an analysis of EOS, which is right now it's just an ICO token. It's an ERC20 token, but that token was sold in order to how would I say it? In order to help transition toward their official blockchain, which launches in June. So to the listeners and viewers out there, keep an ear out, I guess I should say, or eye out, because me and William Swanson, he's actually the chief architect at Edge. We're doing an analysis of EOS. We're reading through the white paper, taking a look, trying to, I guess, how would I say it, to dissect it a little bit and give an idea of whether we think it's good or whether we think it's bad, what are our concerns. So this is a new episode format that we are trying to add because I know a lot of you want analysis of specific coins. So something we're going to try to churn out maybe like once every 2 weeks or so. So keep an eye out for that, and hopefully we'll be able to offer something good.
I think that's a really cool idea, and I wanted to also pat you on the back for something I noticed. That interview you did with the lead developer of Grim. I don't even know if he wants to be called the lead developer.
Right.
I know he doesn't want to be called that.
Right.
But you beat the Bitcoin podcast to the scoop on that, and I saw that they interviewed after him, and I just want to commend you on the thought leadership and
Thank you.
A great interview on that one.
Yeah, I think that was one of our better performing episodes, and it was cool. I listened to the Let's Talk Bitcoin guys. They just released an episode where they talked to him as well, and it's interesting. It's actually kind of fun comparing how my interview went versus theirs. I'm not going to say too much, but I would say that I am proud of the interview that I did.
Captain Crypto blew them out of the water.
And I'm looking to do more of those types of episodes because I think interviewing is something that I enjoy a lot. So keep an eye out for that. Also, I know I mentioned it before, but if you haven't gotten Edge Wallet on your Apple device or on your Android device, go ahead and download it, give it a whirl, let us know what you think. If you like it, give us a review. If you don't like it, give us your feedback, and maybe hold off on that review. So until next time, there's your captain wishing you fair winds and following seas, guys. Set sail.